Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Daniel and today we're going to tie a salmon fly. This is a fairly simple salmon fly, but it's a salmon fly that has been really hyped a lot these past couple of seasons, especially here in Denmark. As I said, it's fairly simple. It has a design which are great for the Danish rivers, but for rivers all over, because it has a lot of weight due to the bead here, but also it's a very lively fly in the water. Due to all this flesh, it's also a fly that is particularly well suited for early fishing, for murky waters, and basically it's a lot of the things that I really like. It's heavy, it's simple, and it catches a lot of fish. So today we're gonna do Mark Skorby's The Flesh Flu. Det der. Go. So here it is, the flesh flu. Now we're gonna tie this. The first thing we need is of course a tube, and for this we need a 0.8 millimeter future fly tube. Just a clear 1.8 millimeter tube here. Just gonna take maybe 2 centimeters. It's not a big fly, it's not a bulk. It is, well, depending on how long you make the wing of the flesh and stuff, it can be a big fly, but you don't need a lot of tubing for this to work. So I'm just gonna melt down here small, what is it called, Stefan, in English? I keep forgetting the name of this column?
The collar.
Collar, yeah, collar, of course. Small collar. And then we're gonna take one of these future fly brass beads. You could use tungsten if you want it to be even more heavy, but the brass is ideal for my fishing. So then I'm gonna attach the tying thread here, and the first thing we need to do is to add some flesh to this, and the flesh is going to be a really vital part of this fly. You can use a lot of different varieties of flesh. The most important thing is that you have something that is really have a lot of movement, and I in particular like this Fleshaboo holographic red. And because I've just made this video in Danish, I have a piece of this just because when you cut off the flesh here, it's important that you cut all the way up to the actual material here. Otherwise, you will have a lot of useless flesh later on with half strands in between your materials. So always cut all the way up. But then you can save the part that you do not use if it's too long, like I've done here. So you will have for more than one fly. And basically, I just take this Fleshaboo here, holographic Fleshaboo here, and I try to get it distributed all the way around my bead, like this. Apply some tying thread, and now I'm gonna take a look. This is perhaps 6 centimeters long, and of course you can change this up depending on if you want it longer or shorter. The flesh I have here in front is a bit too long, I think, because we're gonna use that as well. So basically I'm gonna cut that off into a bit of different lengths. So it's about the same length as the flesh that is pointing backwards. And then I will turn all of this flesh over, like so. And of course, if you want a smaller fly, simply just use shorter strands of flesh. But from what I hear about this fly is that it's actually working quite well in a bit longer version, and I'm thinking of adding this to I'm gonna add this to my fly box, but also this is one of the flies I'm gonna try out on the opening day. So a bit longer one, a bit bigger one will be a good supplement to all the other flies that I have in my box. There we go. Now we have tied down the wing here of this holographic Fleshaboo, and the next thing we need is a hackle. And of course, depending on the size of the actual fly here and the fly that you want to tie, you can use different materials. I have one here in a different color scheme. It's basically exactly the same fly, but here I have made the hackle with because the hackle is going to be made from hairs. So here I have made the hackle with rabbit, and you can use rabbit. Rabbit is very soft and very lively, but it's not that long. So if you want a bigger fly, then perhaps you should look for something besides the rabbit. The rabbit is a good option. Also, on this fly today, we're going to use opossum, which is also a lively, some really lively hairs here that looks awesome for this fly. But if you want an even bigger one, you could go with Arctic fox or even marble fox. So depending on what you want, you can change up this fly to get exactly the length of hairs that you need for the particular fly size that you want. So I'm gonna make my my dubbing loop here. Then I'm gonna leave that off to the side, and then I'm gonna take my piece of opossum, and with my fingers I'm gonna try to get a big bundle of this. I've been, as you can see, I've been cutting away from this piece quite a lot, so it's a bit difficult to get exactly the right bundle. And when you're gonna cut this away from the actual leather, then it's if you have a piece of leather like this, the easiest is simply to just find a big batch of this and then cut that away. But of course, if you can manage to get your clamp in there, then that's also a good option. But because my fur here was a bit mangled, then this was the easiest way for me to do it. So because there is a lot of really long hairs here, I'm gonna remove those, the longest ones, so I kind of have this bushy thing going on. Yes, I actually just said that. Oh, the fun you have when you tie flies, you know. So I have this bushy thing going on. Yeah. Don't quote me on that. But now I need to decide what length this should be, and I think that actually the length here is almost perfect. I want it to be about maybe half, maybe a bit more than half of the actual flesh wing here. So I'm just gonna carefully remove some of the woolly part of this, and for this I normally have a comb. I don't know where I put that. I'm just gonna find that. 1 second. Den er i den der Marco Polo-ring, tror jeg. Hvad? Jo. Jeg har også en anden, men den her er den bedste. So I have this really neat comb from CF Design, which makes this here a lot easier, you would think. It's important that you hold quite a lot on to the actual hairs here, so you do not get you do not lose a lot of hairs with this. But as you can see, this actually enabled me to get quite a lot more of the woolly hairs out, and that's important, especially when you're dealing with a dubbing loop like this. So I'm just gonna hold this here, and then I'm gonna cut it straight across to get a really straight hairs. There we go. So now I have this, and then I'm gonna attach this. I'm gonna place this inside my dubbing loop. And this is gonna be my hackle. So I place this inside my dubbing loop here, and then carefully I manipulate this so it's gonna fill out more of the dubbing loop. as I hope you can see. Because I'm gonna make this as a hackle. What is the key element here is that you, and the crucial thing is that you get your hairs as close to the edge of the dubbing loop as possible. So with one of your fingers, you're gonna, what you want is you want to manipulate this so it gets as close to the dubbing loop, so you only have hairs on one side of the dubbing loop, because otherwise you will get a really big bulky center of your dubbing loop that will basically make it a lot harder for you to produce a good looking fly. So carefully pull on this. So you can see I have almost nothing on one side, and then all the materials are sticking out on the other side. Then I'm gonna take my my dubbing twister and giving this a big spin before I actually let loose and let my hairs be intertwined between the tying thread. Then again, carefully I comb this so I get as much of the hairs out, if any has been caught in between the strands of tying thread. So now I have my dubbing loop here. That's going to be the first hackle. And then carefully I turn this. I fold the hairs back, making sure that when I start turning this, that it is as close to the bead as possible. Keep pressure on here at all times. I can see this is a bit denser than the first one I made, but that's okay. The flesh here is also a bit longer than on the other one, so now I actually have a couple of different sizes for this, and that suits me fine. There we go. Then I'm gonna tie down my tying thread, my dubbing loop. There we are. I'm gonna fold this back, and then I'm gonna take my tying thread and tie closer to the dubbing loop in order to force it backwards. There we go. And because the hairs are now intertwined between the strong tying thread here, this is going to be a really durable fly as well. And then the finishing touch is basically a black front hackle. This is a Ewing hen saddle. You can buy, of course, a bag of loose feathers, but it's always the best option is always to buy a full cape or a full saddle, because you get a lot more options and varieties, and the individual feathers, the quality of the individual feather is higher. I'm gonna tie this in the tip, just on top here. Cut those messy hairs away from my bush, as they say. And then I'm gonna turn the hackle. The black one here gives this fly a nice contrast here in the front here, and it kind of ties the fly together. It makes it look, it gives it a bit more of a finished look here. I'm gonna tie down the hackle. We don't want too much, just a few strands to kind of finish off the fly and give it this. There we go. And then the absolutely finishing touch is one of these. These are the Pro Sportsfisher Artificial Jungle Cock, and they are the best artificial jungle cock I have ever tried or used. They're easy to handle. They look as close to the real thing as you can probably get, and there's quite a lot of these in the package from Pro. And I must say these are the best alternative I've come across, and I do highly recommend them. I'm gonna add one of these to each side of the fly here. Easy to use, strong and durable, fast to attach. Just an overall awesome product. Gonna do a finish. Remove the tang though, and then as the finishing finishing touch, I'm gonna add a cone head from Future Fly as well. There we go. Just gonna hang it off to the side. Then we're gonna take my Sabber Gap to make sure it stays in place. This will make the fly really, really durable. It will ensure that the jungle cock will stay on there. And there you have it, the flesh flue. And again, if you think that the flesh here is too long, if you don't like how that looks, you can always, basically just start trimming it a bit if you feel like this is a bit too much. You can trim that down. But that's the basic idea here, and I can guarantee you this is a fly that has caught a lot of salmons. And I think a fly like the fly type like this would also work really great for steelhead and the like. So there you go, the flesh flue. So here it is, the finished fly. As I said, this is in particular a great fly for the early fishing, both in Norway and here in Denmark. It has a lot of movement in the water, and also it's a fairly inexpensive fly. So I would definitely recommend that you carry one or two of these, and even make your own adaptations of this type of pattern, because it's something completely different. It's something completely new, and I like new and different stuff. This has been a really, really proven and well-catching pattern here in Denmark. So take this fly, go forth into the unknown and catch some salmon. That's all for now. Oh, and as always, you can of course buy the full material kit for this fly and any other flies here on YouTube in my webshop. It's www.nordicanglers.com. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already and click the bell and all that bells and whistle stuff, please do. That would mean a lot to me.